Before you comment on this video about its thumbnail or title, yes, it's true. On November 27th, 2012, the Amazing Wolf Gumball released the 50th episode called The Bet, where Bobbert joins Gumball and Darwin in a game of bet.
Computing question. Trick detected. Failure acknowledged.
Sorry, man. You lose.
Switching hard drive to slave mode. Awaiting command.
The wording even shows he puts himself into slave mode for him. Now, with the proof being shown and everything being said, Gumball inadvertently became a slave owner for 24 hours. And as much as that is an interesting topic as it is, we're not going to be talking about that today. We're going to be delving into the action that took place behind it. The manipulation of Bobbert's loneliness being used to get whatever Gumball wants.
All I ever wanted was to be your friend, and you treat me like a big joke. You think I don't notice? Why don't you like me?
Mr. Peanut Butter.
No, tell me.
Oh, great, of course. Here it comes. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing shitty things and then feel bad about yourself like that makes it okay. You need to be better. No, Bojack, just stop. You are all the things that are wrong with you. It's not the alcohol or the drugs or any of the shitty things that happened to you in your career or when you were a kid. It's you. All right? It's you. Fuck, man. What else is there to say?
Alright, this must be said, but we will be talking about dark subject matter. The list goes from manipulation, self-humiliation, and other topics. If you aren't in the right headspace or feel uneasy, I please suggest coming back later until you feel ready enough. You've been warned. I think we should start off with what is manipulation? We tend to forget the fact of the matter at hand when we're so familiar with terms and definitions. To manipulate is to control or influence a person or situation cleverly, unfairly, or unscrupulously. My lord, what the hell is unscrupulously? It sounds like a word for cats doing something diabolical. Anyways, what we need to focus on is the first key words: control and influence. You basically need some form of power to hold over something or someone in order to first manipulate anything. The power could be anything like knowledge, information, basically blackmail, being in a position of power like a boss or manager, or even just having a simple following could give you something. This will make sense later when we're talking about Gumball and Bobbert. We're just setting it up for the reality part. Let's also look at the second key words that describes the action. You know, cleverly, unfairly, or unscrupulously. Oh, and by the way, the word's meaning is to have or showing no moral principles, i.e. not being honest, being unethical. These words insinuate that the action itself is deplorable, that if you do manipulate, you are only doing it in the interest of yourself. I wouldn't blame you if you also thought manipulation is purely selfish and only causes harm. And as easy as it sounds to call it done deal by making it a negative word, there are nuances to this word when it comes to the context and the purpose. With social media nowadays, it's hard to even think of a positive side when it comes to drama, news, or outlets. Sometimes there isn't a positive side. Okay, if I bring up the words Minecraft and YouTuber in the same sentence, I'm sure the word manipulate is bound to pop up. But with that being said, if you hide a pill inside of cheese or ham for your dog, are you a Minecraft YouTuber? What if you are? That's awkward. And if you are, if you not, it's okay. Anyway, you basically manipulated your dog to take pills by hiding it. It has a positive side to it, and I'll use this defense for Darwin because he also plays a big part in this video. I think you now understand the question at hand. What is manipulation? But we need to start asking, in reality, how bad was it when Gumball manipulated Bobbert? Okay, we need to address the elephant in the room. Damn, that's a big ass elephant. This is a cartoon show. It's fiction. But that being said, it draws from non-fictional stuff like school, classes, themes, and whatnot. I believe we can boil it down to a minute detail and relate to it to real life without losing what makes it unique. Learning new things by breaking down the comedy into something more digestible to help us make stronger connections to real life cases. Too long didn't read. I love making stuff deep and profound. But my most important thing I want you guys to know, yes, I know this is a cartoon. Yes, I'm making it deep for a reason. Let's get into the episode. We start with Gumball almost eating Darwin in a game of bet. The game goes, if you win, the loser has to be the servant of the winner for 24 hours. A couple of bets go by, a freaky one at that, with Bobbert coming to ask,
Repeatedly jumping on your face.
Because it's fun.
Define fun.
Oh, you know, like hanging out with friends, gawking at girls, and playing games like this one.
Computing, friends, girls, games. Result, 0.
It seems like Bobbert doesn't have any friends to play with. A lonely person that has a hard time picking up on social cues that wants to make new friends or connections with a couple of other kids. Gumball and Darwin. Now, this doesn't look bad at the surface level, but what truly becomes horrifying is their actions after hearing this. Gumball has a devious ass look on his face, ready to play bet with Bobbert. Here comes the manipulation part.
Can I join your game?
Of course you can. Okay, we're playing bets, and the loser's the winner's servant for 24 hours. Well, I bet you can't say the alphabet faster than me. The alphabet.
Recomputing question. Trick detected. Failure acknowledged.
Again, if we saw this in the light of the cartoon show, it would be funny, but in reality, this is where the snowball effect takes place of how Gumball manipulates Bobbert. With him winning the bet, Darwin chimes in saying,
We could use this power for the good of mankind. We could save dolphins and stop global warming and bring peace to the world. There's so much good we can do.
Even Gumball joins in on wanting to help people. And that's not actually a bad idea. This seems like it's going in the right direction. But then we cut away to Bobbert shitting out 9 rings of hell out of his ass in front of the nurse. Of course, Gumball truly didn't want to help him, or anyone in the matter of fact, but just to fuck around with people at school. To stop real quick and analyze what just happened, if we are boiling it down, a lonely kid who just wanted friends was manipulated for the amusement of a prank, or just a dangerous stunt that is severely affecting him. It sounds worse when you actually think about it. I don't blame you if you can only see it as a funny cat and his fish friend does mischievous stuff with his robot. New friend, quote unquote. But with a different perspective, these are middle schoolers, just kids. So wiping away the cartoon aspect, you get a real story of someone who grew up lonely without friends, who just got manipulated when they couldn't find the right people in time. This is only the beginning of it. We aren't even in the thick of it. Not even seconds later, Gumball tells Bobbert to make out with the defibrillator, which hurts him, being done again for the amusement of Gumball, with Darwin asking,
Thought you wanted to do good for mankind. Yeah, but this is more fun.
Not only is he publicly humiliating him, but he's also endangering his well-being just to get a kick out of it. As much as I could go to any news station and grab a real-life scenario or find a story that relates this to a deeper level, I just don't have to. And I don't want to, because I want to be respectful of those people who have suffered this same very thing over and over and over again. I don't even want to do that. It makes me sick. And the reason why I don't even have to is because 1 out of 4 of you experienced this in some sort of level in America. And I don't even know what the statistics is outside of it. Whether that's being bullied or manipulated. Hell, you could have been Gumball for all I know. This is more than bullying. It's torture. And I have seen this story countless and countless times again over my lifetime from different everything. The worst part is that in every single story, it plays out the same, and there's just nothing different. Because in the next scene, Gumball's head ass only gets a verbal warning. Like, does this principal not know he's a menace to society? He truly needs to be locked up, to be put in a prison. Like, he needs to be put in the prison realm, okay? That's how bad it is. Like, this is Shibuya level of terror. But what's really sad is that it hits close to home when you actually start looking at this scene. Just like how most schools handle these types of situations, you might think, oh, so he was told no, so he will stop right after, right? Again, if you are 1 out of 4 kids who are bullied, it never stopped with a verbal warning. It made things even worse. And to demonstrate just how worse it got, Gumball commanded Bobber to burn the football field with graffiti. Now, just boil it down to Gumball making this lonely kid do vandalism just because he got caught. Let that sink in. No, literally, let that sink in! I think it's high time to apply the definition of manipulation to Gumball and Bobber. To the first key words, those words mean to have power, and Gumball has power over Bobber. You might ask, what's the power? He's not a popular kid. Really, he's not that popular. Surely not the strongest either. Bro, have you seen him try to lift anything? And he literally knows nothing about Bobber, so it's not blackmail. Bro's just kinda ass tier. Anyways, so what does Gumball have that Bobber doesn't? Darwin. The whole reason why this works is because they are best friends. Sadly to say, he has numbers. Even the lowest amount could give him leverage. Now that we know he has power and what it is, we need to now understand the second key words, the ones that describes the action. I think unscrupulously best fits what Gumball did, and I'm making it clear that it was solely Gumball. What he is doing is very unethical, making him vandalize the football field or making him electrocute himself for the amusement of himself, you know? And I'm making this clear because once we start to break down Darwin's part, it gets morally ambiguous at times. Speaking about Darwin, let's go back to the show. Darwin starts to stand up for Bobber and says,
Talking about the way you treat Bobber. Well, I'm sorry, but he's the one who asked to play. Besides, I didn't make the rules.
Yeah, you did. You know Bobbert's not normal. His life is so sad. We should help.
I think he has really good intentions for Bobber, but that being said, even with the best and honest intentions can lead to harmful outcomes, just as much as malicious intent. Because in the next scene, he says,
Bobbert, we're going to find you a girlfriend.
What? Why?
Because his life is pathetic and he needs some love.
Is it true that Bobber's life is pathetic? Well, as much as I want to debate on that, it's the matter of fact that Darwin believes that Bobber's life is miserable. He was just doing fine until he realized he didn't have any friends. What makes it more pathetic is allowing Gumball to cause so much harm to Bobber being a bystander. I know this is a cartoon, but it really sounds relatable to real life. You just gotta use your suspicion of disbelief. The way that Darwin thinks is love conquers all, so he fills in that miserable part of Bobbert's life with love. This has to be one of the biggest toxic pieces of advice I've ever heard to give to another person. Sound it out with me. Love doesn't fix everything. I'll go into this in a different video, but toxic positivity is a real thing. Don't let it mislead you when it comes to people who don't understand negative downsides to everything. He even describes the other person in question as desperate for love and Bobber as available.
Now, walk up to Tina. She's desperate and you're available?
What type of sick, twisted fantasy is this? Oh my lord. And I know he's doing it for the sake of Bobbert, but this is the worst type of savior complex I've ever seen in my life. We are only 4 minutes into the cartoon. How bad can it really get from here? Darwin starts to feed Bobbert poetic words to woo over Tina the dinosaur, the person in question. And it's actually starting to work until...
Girl. This might come as a shock, but I can see there's an energy inside you.
And that, if we got
Together, sparks would fly.
Wow, no one's ever spoken to me with such poetry before.
I'm
not talking to you.
I'm talking to the fuse box.
The next thing you know, Bobbert gets his head ripped off because of Gumball changing the script. The worst part is when Gumball says,
I don't know how to talk to girls.
And he's probably not going to appreciate switching out of slave mode to find he's married to some Jurassic meat sack. What am I talking about? This is the funniest idea ever.
this was after he got his head ripped off, but he knows he's morally wrong, and yet he does it anyway. Jesus Christ, I don't know anymore. What's even worse than that is Tina over here is also collateral damage. A girl trying to live in middle school, but made to be the laughingstock because of her appearance. Sounds familiar? We will also talk about her in a different video. Okay, pause right here. I need to add this into the script because I didn't get to talk about it much. But when I said Darwin was a morally gray area, I truly mean it. What he's trying to do is he's trying to be the best person to help Bobbert whatever he needs help with. But he's also being a bystander, and it's equivalent as being a manipulator. I'm not saying the actions are equivalent, but I'm saying the severity and damage of the action is equal, as in letting it happen. There is a difference in not knowing versus letting it happen. For instance, the reason why Gumball has so much power over Bobbert is because 1, he made the game, and 2, he's friends with Darwin. If Darwin just stuck up for Bobbert and shut down Gumball for being a dickhead, then all the power is lost. But he would never do that. So at the end of the day, he became a bystander to letting the bullying get to him and let him die at the end. It's very important that Darwin is talked about because there are too many people like this. All I can see is a boy who lost his life due to messing around with the bad crowd. Even with the slight guidance on Darwin's part, it wasn't enough. It was never enough. With the next part, Darwin starts to grill Gumball a little more for getting Bobbert hurt. His defense?
I believe you did that to Bobbert. All of this because of your stupid case. Look, if you want to make Bobbert happy, you treat him like a normal kid, not a charity case. Go tell that to his head.
Which, if you take it at face value, yes, it's very important to treat another kid, quote unquote, normal, so he feels like he fits in. But we know this is a facade. He just wants to torture Bobbert even more with masking it as helping a kid fit in. With manipulation, it doesn't only apply to power, but emotional and / moral standpoints. Even having that standpoint, in the next scene, he's being treated like a whole ass dog, telling him to fetch the stick.
Fetch! Alright, smarty pants. No arms this time.
I know I will get comments here and there saying it's a cartoon, there is nothing deep about this, but I find it so crazy that it can relate to real life with a couple of points made. Because manipulators are hypocrites. They will go against their own word just to get what they want. Darwin repeats himself again, and Gumball says,
So this is treating him like a normal kid, huh?
A normal kid who lost his bet fair and square.
But still, this is no way to treat a,
Go on, say it.
a challenged person? No.
You think you're better than him?
the way Gumball says, what, a challenged person, while also following it up with, you think you're better than him, is gaslighting. Darwin didn't want to hurt Bobbert's feelings by describing him as a challenged person, so he stood quiet. But it's true, Bobbert is a challenged kid. He has a disability, or he just doesn't have the common sense. But that doesn't give Gumball the right to treat him like this. I feel like Gumball would treat a hamster so terribly that it would explode as soon as he would touch it. This will be the last scene I cover in this video, because after this, it's pretty much pointless to keep pointing out the same thing over and over again. When they head back into the classroom, this is so damning, I don't know what else to say.
Bobbert, divide by 0.
See, that's the problem here. Any other kid, normal or not, would have some limits. But a robot just doesn't. It's unfair to do that to him.
Why are you so uptight about this? I don't see anyone else having a problem with it.
That's because no one else is here.
There is no one in the classroom to see what is happening. It's always behind closed doors, a poetic telling. Don't think because you can't hear it, it's not there. Just because you can't see it, don't think it's not there. Once it hits the maximum climax, the pinnacle of stress, abuse, torture, bullying, everything inhumane, until it's too late to stop the person from doing anything that would make their mother cry. It is always behind closed doors because no one wants to show their real personality. So the question is, in reality, how bad was it when Gumball manipulated Bobbert? What's the motive for this video? Honestly, this stemmed from an internal issue that I was plagued with when making videos. Come here, we're gonna have a one-on-one. If anyone knows this, I didn't know this myself, but most of my popular videos are mostly negative. It's just how it is. Either it comes off as negative or something profoundly damning, which I think draws in clicks and views, while my other videos don't really get that much traction when it depicts something as not negative. For instance, take a look at one of my newest videos, Autism and Robots Are Related. That got only 100 views on the first release, and anything from there was around 1 or 2 views per day. If we head back to my other videos, The Very Odd Parents, It's Darker Than You Think, it almost has 10,000 views on its release, and it's still growing to this day. What does this mean? What does this tell me? Well, to put it bluntly, I have to be somewhat clickbaitable to get people to watch, i.e. manipulate the people to click the video. And at first, I was grappling with this notion that I manipulate people for the benefit of my own. To best put it, here is a clip of Andrew Callahan, a YouTuber journalist, talking about the landscape as we speak.
Do you think that legacy journalism is probably on its way out?
It's on its way out and it's being replaced by a worse machine.
And what is that? Just algorithms?
No, algorithmic clickbait journalists who are like masquerading as like independent reporters who are just like literally following the exact same incentive structure of the mainstream media. Outrage, clickbait thumbnails, false light, selective interviewing, manipulative. It's crazy. Outrage sells more. You know what I mean? Anger sells more. And so for Channel 5, we try to walk that fine line between creating engagement because people like the journalism and employing just enough shock to get people to click. Yeah. But it's even worse now, especially like most journalists today, it's just vox pop. It's you just get people's reactions to what's already happening.
To translate that into cartoon side of video essays, people are doing the bare minimum of work to make a profit out of cartoon essays community. Either that's through AI, stealing content, or all together both. Take for instance the Blooming video, the South Park YouTuber that has been lying to you. No joke. I was contacted by an editor that might have been involved in the same work. Here is all the proof, but I really don't care. Although I could have gotten a lot of views out of this, but that's the problem. That's what the problem I have with this. I don't want to just get a lot of views. I don't want to clickbait just to gain views, but I also want to make a living out of YouTube. It's like how Andrew said it. Sometimes you gotta add a little fire to make a big flame. I also realized that you guys gain a lot from my videos, not only from my own stories, but learning about how to see episodes in a different light. You guys even share with one another experiences through life and make friends in my comments. I also try to add as much informational content to make sure you at least get something from this video, whether that's entertainment or knowledge. And I'm starting to realize that I'm not manipulating you guys. You guys are choosing to click on the video and I'm bringing you something that is fruitful. Now, yes, I might be manipulating you clicking on it, but I'm letting you guys choose if you want to finish the video or not. And I think that's what separates me from all the people who are doing the bare minimum and everyone who's doing the maximum. With this video, I went unfiltered. This is how my brain saw the whole episode. And if you're taking me at my full value that this was unfiltered, think about how all the other videos I could have done that could have been unfiltered. And what's really funny is, honestly, I can't unsee the episode from this perspective. Now, but that's not the point. What I'm trying to tell you is that I can make any cartoon episode just as deep as this one. So I'm not being replaced, or I'm not gonna get replaced because I have my own brain and I'm not using like ChatGPT or something stupid like that. The original motive for this video was a test to see if people would click on the negative more than positive. But that's so trivial at this point. We already know the answer. It's just I'm the one who hasn't woken up yet. I want this video to be bigger than that. I want you guys to understand that anyone can be a Gumball and Darwin. What do I mean? I mean, anyone can manipulate you with the smallest amount of power just to get their way. It doesn't have to be in school settings. It can be at work, in a household, in friend groups. It could be your government. We are living in a society where if you don't read a single goddamn thing, you can easily be swept up into a piles of lies. You might even say, what if what you're reading is a lie? Then you keep reading more. Find the truth. Seek the answer. We are so far deep into life at this point that if you're just following what words have been said, you are going to fall at your own mistakes. If you don't question at least something or give it a second thought, then you will lose so much that you didn't know you had. With this, I'll leave you with a Bo Burnham clip, something that spoke to my heart when making this video.
You know, the choice all of us have at the end of the day, not just kids, but of course it's more vulnerable for kids because their minds are still growing. You know, at the end of the day, you have a choice in your bed at night between all of the information in the history of the world or the back of your eyelids. And that's a crazy, crazy binary to be choosing the entire time, you know? And it's like we're hyper-connected and we're lonely, we're overstimulated and we're numb, we're objectifying ourselves and we're expressing ourselves. So